So everyone, you join me today. Listen to it. Yes, in an M2 CS. Now before I get into this normal road review that we're doing today, this week we've got the normal road review. Next week we've got a bit of a special for you. We have a collaboration and we're doing a big masterclass on how to drift, how to power slide on a racetrack in this car with a hero of the industry. Now you've got to come back and watch it to find out who that hero of the industry is, but it starts with S and it ends in G. And if you can guess who it is, then fair play to you. Comment down below if you can guess who it is. But we're doing a big thing with him. Anyway, so this M2 CS, 444 full fat horsepower from this S55 engine from an M3 or an M4, 406 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60, 4.2 seconds. It is a weapon. It is not so much of a weapon on the roads we're on today. And the reason that is because on these Michelin Sport Cup 2s that it's on at the moment, on wet, miserable roads, this is a very, very skittish, leery little package. She is an absolute peach, this car. The more I drive it, the more I'm enjoying it, the more I'm getting in tune with it. It's a great, great little car. It's such a small little package, an enjoyable little sports car. It's the right size for UK roads. It looks wonderful. It's super cool. It sounds great. I think, can you tell I like it? I think I like it. Can you tell? Now, we got a nice little piece of road here. I'll show you how little traction it's got. It's absolutely alarming. But, you know, we're down into first, on the gas, flashy, flashy. We're in third, we're still getting wheel spin. It's just absolutely madness. And, you know, there's very little point in me trying to drive it absolutely flat out because it's not really possible in this weather. Because you're just squirreling all over the shop. We come around there. Whoa! She's a beast. She is an absolute beast. The engine notes from this S55 engine is quite sonorous. I quite like it. I know with all these, you know, particulate filters and all that kind of stuff, everything's become a little bit subdued. But this one sounds really great, and this DCT 7-speed gearbox that this car has is absolutely snap sharp. It is fantastic. It's not the gearbox I would choose for this car. I would love a lovely little 6-speed manual gearbox because I feel like this is a driver-focused car. But let's listen to it. It's absolutely mega. You have 3 different modes of ferocity, so you can have it so that it feels bang, 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 bang through the gears, or you can have it so it's a little bit more laboured. You can't really tell an enormous amount of difference, but in normal auto mode, she's absolutely sweet as a nut. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant gearbox. And if you did want to chase lap times in a car like this with the ceramic brakes and this gearbox twin to this engine, I think that's a really lovely mixture. I am very, very gingerly applying the throttle. I've got it in comfort. I've got everything in comfort. I've got the adaptive dampers in comfort. We'll come back to those in a minute. I've got the steering in comfort, and I've got the engine in efficient. Just to make that throttle response a little bit longer, a little bit less immediate, give you a little bit less power all at once in this miserable, miserable weather. This M2, I have to say, is special, really special. I have no idea how BMW have managed to, from the second you get in it, it feels taut, tight, purposeful. It feels really, really special as an item. It feels special just to be in and around. The interior is very, very simple. It feels very driver focused. The whole thing feels very, very driver focused. The M2 badge in the dials, which are beautiful by the way, very similar to the M5 I drove, the Litchfield Stage 1 Tune M5. It's like a beautiful watch bezel around the dials. you've got two dials. You've got a rev counter and you've got your speedometer. It's just left like that. It's very clean, simple, lovely. The steering wheel. Everyone has banged on about how this steering wheel is too thick. I haven't got enormous hands. Read into that what you will. That's absolutely fine by me. Now, I haven't got enormous hands, and it is potentially a little bit too thick. Now, I don't think that detracts from the feel through the steering at all. Not to me anyway. Some people have said that it does. I think it still absolutely feels great. This electric rack is amazing. They've been really struggling over a few of the guises of cars to really get this electric steering right. But this car has absolutely spot on steering. It doesn't feel electric to me. It feels hydraulic. And I had a Z4M Roadster did 50,000 miles in it, and it feels a little bit like that. It feels meaty and manly, and it feels really, really great. The Alcantara that's clad over the top of this steering wheel makes it, again, it just feels expensive and special, and I love it. The rest of the interior, if you've ever driven a BMW, you'll know that everything is where it should be. The iDrive system is extremely simple to use, and it all works from this little toggle switch down here. It's absolutely magnificent. There's nothing to complain about with any of this. The lovely little CS badge over here, really, really nice. The seats in this car are absolutely spot on. They're lovely. They're comfortable on a long journey. I've done a few miles in this car. I've had it for a week. They're also super supportive. They could do with a little bit more shoulder support, I think, but other than that, they hug you. They feel really purposeful and absolutely lovely, and this Napa leather is just absolutely delightful. The feel from all of the controls. As I just mentioned earlier, you can change the feel of the controls in this car. Just obviously from the addition of the adaptive dampers, it has comfort mode, it has sport mode, and it has sport plus mode. Now, sport plus is, let's be honest, for a racetrack. Comfort mode is the mode that I've left it on most of the time, and no, it's not a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley, but it is perfectly usable and acceptable on a daily basis. So yeah, it's no harsher than any other sports car out there. The sport mode, if you want to get a little bit frisky with it on a UK road, whack it in sport mode, it's really lovely. The steering, I always like to leave the steering in comfort. With most cars, I like to leave it in comfort because I feel like sometimes it just gets a little bit stiff off center in the sportier settings. And I think this in comfort mode, sport mode is absolutely fine. Sport plus just gets a little bit too heavy for me. I prefer it in the comfort and the sport setting. The engine, at the moment we're in efficient mode. This S55 motor from the M4 and the M3 obviously is in the M2 as well, but this one is the full fat 444 horsepower and 406 foot-pounds of torque in a tiny little compact sports car is absolutely plenty. I will tell you that much now. It is, if anything, in this weather on these absolutely minging roads at the moment, it's almost too much because it just can't put down the traction at all. You get anywhere near going up it and the car immediately just continuously flashes the traction control light telling you that it hasn't got enough grip. On a dry road, it is wonderful. You can lean on this car. The front end is absolutely planted. It is sublime. It's as a car like this should feel. And you know, at the moment, as I say, we've got the engine in efficient mode. As you get up through the modes, so the sport mode and sport plus mode, you can then get a much more razor sharp throttle response from this turbocharged engine. Obviously, this turbocharged engine has two turbos, twin turbocharged, and it feels quite turbocharged. There isn't an enormous amount going on right down the rev range, but as you get further up, oh my word, it is absolutely lightning fast. There's 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, and it is just an absolute animal. But in a really fun, enjoyable way of being an animal. I drove the first M3, first guise of the F80 M3 with this engine in it. Oh my God, it was quite spiteful. It felt like it wanted to kill you at all times. You'd be pulling paddles till 4th, 5th just to try and find some traction. This car is a little bit more progressive. through the rev range. Don't get me wrong, in weather like this, it still feels extremely spiteful and like it wants to kill me. But I'll forgive it that because the weather is just horrendous. The styling cues, obviously, on this wonderful looking little M2 CS. It is aggressive, as well as being really quite pretty, I think. I love the look of this car. I think it looks wonderful from every single angle. I think there is nothing about this car that I don't look. I think the front end looks amazing. I think the carbon fibre bonnet and the carbon fibre roof, which obviously lowers the centre of gravity in the car by 10 kilos or something like that. This car is still the same weight as a normal M2 Competition or there or thereabouts, just because of the adaptive dampers, an extra radiator and that sort of thing. So you're not gaining any weight gains from that, but it has lowered the centre of gravity. The checkerboard weave on the roof looks wicked. This Mazzano blue is absolutely, oh God, it looks incredible. And it really pops. The wheels, this car is on ceramic brakes. They are mega, mega strong. And I think if you're gonna spend, this car is 84 grand. If you're gonna spend 84 grand on a car, go ahead, spec the ceramic brakes, because this on a racetrack would be absolutely magnificent. It is odd, obviously, that they've taken out the centre armrest, which I do find a little bit strange because, I mean, what's that going to gain you? A kilo? But I'd sooner have an armrest. I don't mind it. I sort of would drive along like this, and it still is an armrest, really. I think it's such a minor thing that who cares. I'm very glad, though, that it has door cards, unlike the M4 CS, which lost all of this, lost all of the storage in the door cards, door bins, so you couldn't put anything, you couldn't put a water bottle in it or anything. It was ridiculous, especially as something that is a usable vehicle. Now, the one problem that I have with this car, obviously, is that everyone else has said, is it's £23,000 more expensive than an M2 Competition. If you're willing to spend £23,000 more to get something that's a slightly rarer car, that is marginally better, and I mean marginal. I mean, I've driven an M2 Competition and they are very, very good. This feels a little bit more special, but it should do. But for what you're getting with this car, I don't know that the 23 grand is worth it. I genuinely don't think it is. The other problem I have with this car is its main rival is a Porsche GT4. Now, I love a Porsche GT4. I loved that GTS that I did. If you haven't watched that film, go and watch that film. And obviously, whilst you're there, subscribe and ring the little bell. It really does help us out. We're really ramping up these films now, and we're trying to get them out once a week. So please do go and subscribe. Now, that Cayman GT4, for me, feels a little bit more special. Similar sort of money to this car, and I don't know, somehow feels to me a little bit more purposeful. It's a third car, this is a third car. Yes, you could use this on a daily basis, but are you going to use a very special M2 CS on a daily basis? I hope you are. If you are, comment in the comments below. I would love to send you a shake the hand emoji thing. Yeah, other than that, this car is absolutely fantastic. And if you are lucky enough to go and get the opportunity to buy one of these, you're a lucky, lucky man, because it is bloody fantastic. I mean, it really is bloody fantastic.